everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm diving into something a little different. Knitwear designers that I absolutely have to knit from before I die. Whether it's their unique patterns, innovative techniques, or just their undeniable creativity, these designers have truly inspired me to pick up my needles and get to work. So grab your yarn, get cozy, and let's explore some of the designers on my knitting bucket list. Hello, welcome to Hattie Knits Along. My name is Allison, but my friends call me Hattie, and I'm a knitter living in the Pacific Northwest. On this channel, I like to talk about all things knitting, what I'm working on, what you're working on, and what we are currently nerding out about. So if that sounds like something you're into, I hope you subscribe so you never miss a video. I want to take a moment to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Level 8 Luggage. This modern NYC-born brand is redefining travel with its perfect blend of innovative design, durability, and functionality, ideal for travelers who prioritize both style and quality. Level 8 has been generous enough to send me their 28-inch Voyager suitcase, and let me tell you, it's clear that every detail has been meticulously crafted to meet the highest standards in both design and user experience. As I gear up for a solo trip to California, I've got to make sure I've got all my essentials, especially my yarn. One of the standout features of this suitcase is the 3:7 packing ratio. The upper section is shallower, making it incredibly easy to grab items when the suitcase is laid horizontally, while the deeper bottom half is perfect for larger or oddly shaped items. It's the ultimate space-saving solution. I'm also loving the waterproof pocket, which is perfect for stashing my slightly damp socks that didn't quite have enough time to dry after blocking. And with the dual zippers on each side, I can travel with confidence knowing my yarn will stay put without any tangles or chaos. Here's something I've never experienced before, a TSA approved lock built right into the suitcase. That means my precious yarn stash is secure even when I have to check my bag. And as a proud Pacific Northwest girl, the 100% PC material hard casing is a total game changer. It ensures my yarn stays completely dry even through the constant drizzle we're known for up here. If you're ready to level up your luggage game, I highly recommend checking out the Level 8 Voyager suitcase for yourself. Just click the link in the description below and use my special code HATTIE10 for 10% off your order. Thanks again to Level 8 for sponsoring today's video. I can't wait to take this beauty on my next adventure. The first designer on my knitwear designer bucket list is Isabel Kraemer. Isabel Kraemer is a popular German designer whose patterns range all over the place. She has beautiful cabled patterns, colorwork patterns, shawls, sweaters, tees, more basic standard items, vests, all sorts of things. She has 238 designs on Ravelry right now. Isabel started out as a test knitter when Ravelry was in its infancy, and she was known in the test knitting community to add some designer approved modifications as she tested each pattern. And over time, her friends and other test knitters encouraged her to start writing her own patterns. So in 2011, she started listing patterns on Ravelry, but she listed them for free at first. I think she was a little nervous about her own capabilities and ability to be successful in this medium. But in 2013, after lots of prodding from her friends and fans, she did start to sell the patterns on Ravelry, and she has been a prolific designer ever since. Her most popular pattern on Ravelry is the Humulus sweater. The Humulus sweater came out in November of 2017, and right now on Ravelry, it has over 5,000 different projects of it. Humulus is the botanical name for hops, and it is a lovely sweater that celebrates the elegant hop flower, its flavors, and its decorative qualities. The plant is described variously as zesty, piney, earthy, and floral. This sweater encompasses all these with its delicate color work, pattern knitted in a warm and slightly rustic yarn. It's like being wrapped in a hug. It is a circular yoke sweater, stranded colorwork to do the design, and she uses a worsted weight yarn. The design that I would really like to knit by Isabel Kraemer is Forager. This is one of her more simple looking patterns, but it's very elegant and it has enough small details to set it apart and make it look like something you made, but in a good way. Forager is worked seamlessly from the top down. The yoke is shaped by using a modified version of the contiguous set-in sleeves method developed by Susie Myers. First, the yoke is worked back and forth to the final neck cast on. When the neck shaping is complete, the yoke is worked in rounds to sleeve separation. The sleeve stitches are placed on hold and the underarm stitches are cast on. Then the body is worked in rounds to the twisted braid and ribbing on the bottom. The sleeve stitches are then picked up again to work the sleeve in rounds top down to the cuffs. Neck finishing is worked last. There are cables that go down the middle of the front and the middle of the back, and then down each side. And then there's the twisted braid along the bottom before you get to the ribbing, which just makes it so elegant and a very unique look. This is a DK weight gauge and looks really cozy and lightweight, and I'm already dreaming of the yarn that I would like to use to make this sweater. Something that is, lightweight and bouncy and not too rustic, because I would like to really see the cable details on the fronts and the front, back, and sides. Of course, Isabel Kraemer has many glorious patterns that I would love to knit, but I think I have linked a few in a Ravelry bundle, which you can find the link to down below, so you can check out all the different patterns that I'm really into of Isabel Kraemer's, and let me know if you have knit any of her patterns. I would love to know what has stood out to you about her patterns. The next designer on my bucket list is one that I feel like every knitter should know, and that is Elizabeth Zimmerman. Elizabeth Zimmerman was born in England and moved to the United States in 1937 with her husband, and she became very well known in the knitting world when she published the very first Aran sweater in a Vogue magazine. So Aran sweaters are from the Aran Islands in Europe and are a classic kind of cabled sweater, a kind of a fisherman's cabled sweater vibe. She has adapted a pattern to have it printed in the United States in the Vogue magazine. She also has written a whole bunch of other lovely knitting books, including some of the most popular ones are Knitting Without Tears and The Opinionated Knitter, as well as she had a PBS TV show all about knitting as well. She is attributed with inventing some really important pattern attributes that we see all the time, including the I cord, which stands for idiot cord, and the Mobius scarf, which is a scarf where you knit a long tube and then you twist and then seam it together. So if you've seen what a Mobius snake looks like, where the snake is eating its tail and it's just a constant circle, the Mobius scarf, there's no like top and bottom to it, and it's just one continuous circle with a little twist in it. Elizabeth passed away in 1999, but her memory is still living on strong in the knitting world. People reference her all the time. I know I've heard Andrea Mowry talking about her books constantly on her own podcast, and I think that she's just a great source of inspiration and knowledge. She teaches you how to knit things yourself or come up with your own designs, like knitting your own sweater to your specifications, and she does it in a humorous and matter-of-fact way in her writing. So I really appreciate her, and I have never knit one of her patterns yet. So some of the patterns that I would like to try are the baby surprise jacket, which is a very famous pattern where you knit everything flat, and in the end it kind of folds up origami style and turns into a jacket. So that's the surprise of it, that you are knitting this thing that is a very amorphous shape, and then as you fold it up, it turns into a jacket. Perfect size for a baby. Although I think there's also adult surprise jacket and maybe even kid surprise jacket that are just larger versions of the baby surprise jacket. And then, of course, the famous Aran sweater that she released in that 1958 Vogue magazine. That would be a classic sweater to knit, and I'm sure people are still knitting that today. Also, I think owning any of her books would be a great complement to my own knitting library. The next designer on my bucket list is Norah Gaughan. Norah Gaughan was born in New York. She attended Brown University, where she majored in biochemistry and art. And honestly, her love of science, mathematics, and nature is very evident in her design work. Her designs are often based upon the mathematical expressions underlying natural patterns as opposed to naturalistic visual impressions. They are complex in origin, but not necessarily so in execution or appearance. And she has very innovative use of texture and combination of stitches. She often creates new stitches for her designs. Her work is noted as very recognizable on site, and she's often referred to as the Queen of Cables. She comes up with very intricate cable designs that are not replicated by any other designer that I've seen. Her most popular pattern on Ravelry is Beatnik, which she released in 2010 in the Knitty magazine, and you could still find it for free on knitty.com. And Beatnik is an Aran weight sweater. It's a modern version of a classic cabled fisherman sweater with a nod to the 1960s beatniks with the wide boat neck and more fitted look to it. But it's very beautiful and very accessible, I think, to anybody who is interested in knitting a cabled sweater. The pattern that I would most like to knit of Norah's is the Deliciosa sweater. Deliciosa is a worsted weight sweater with a bold motif of large leaves inscribed in stockinette that twine organically atop a backdrop of half-twisted rib. With a classic boxy shape, this sublime pullover is offered in both cropped and standard lengths and features a deeply ribbed hem. The sweater, the leaves on it look like a monstera leaf or a monstera plant, and I love the way it looks. I like that no two leaf is the same, and so this isn't a pattern that you can easily sit down and memorize because it's going to be constant change. You have to really keep your eye on the chart for this one. So I definitely would love to knit this sweater. I just need to find a time that I would be able to sit uninterrupted for hours to read this chart and get that sweater knitted up. So maybe when my youngest is in school full time, I could tackle that sweater. The last designer that I'm going to talk about today, but definitely not the last designer on my bucket list, is Natasja Hornby. Natasja Hornby grew up on a small island in the Netherlands, and when she was in college, she moved to Amsterdam, and she still lives there today. You can find all of her patterns and her bio on moonstruckknits.com. Her story of becoming a designer is really quite inspiring, especially for someone like me who is getting very close to my 40th decade. She learned to knit when she was a young girl. I think she said 5 or 8 years old, but she stopped knitting when she was in high school because it wasn't really a cool thing to do, I guess. She didn't pick knitting back up until she was in her 40s. So she didn't start designing until she was in her 40s. Her designs feature a lot of geometric shapes and modular construction and interesting textures, and each one looks like it is a piece of art. I think completing one of her, especially her shawls, would be such a feat. Not that it would be hard, but it looks like a very magnificent piece, and I think it would be such a joy to have one of her designs in my own wardrobe as an accomplishment of mine. Her most popular pattern on Ravelry is Lune, which is a fingering weight shawl. Lune's most prominent design features are the beautiful but easy to work horizontal and vertical mosaic bands, but she has more. Lots of amazing texture, a lovely wearable shape, and a fun construction. And if you're into them tassels, the design that I would most like to knit of Natasja's is Artis. Artis is a sport weight shawl. She says, "Every year I embark on a journey trying to expand upon one of my favorite techniques, mosaic knitting. By creating what I refer to as a grand mosaic shawl, Artis, with its striking blend of colors and patterning perfectly fits my grand design criteria. Artis is a rich tapestry of texture and color. The mosaic border is easy to work, allowing for creative color combinations that consistently produce fantastic results. Artis is not a delicate sheer layering piece. Instead, it is a substantial wrap with a distinct presence. It stands out and adds character to any outfit while keeping you warm and cozy. It's both eye-catching and functional, a true statement." I wanted to keep today's video short and sweet and just highlight a few of the designers that I am dying to knit. But I would love to know who is on your designer bucket list. I know that we have limited time and there are so many fantastic designs coming out all the time. So I think it's helpful to have this list of designers that we really would like to knit in our mind, so that when we have opportunity to search for new patterns and get something new on our needles, we know where to start and what to look for in the designers that we would like to knit. So please share who is on your bucket list, and let me know also if you have knit any patterns by the 4 designers that I talked about today and how you felt about their patterns and if you would recommend any to me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a great week. Happy knitting. Bye.